Think DeFi is your golden ticket to getting rich quick. You've seen the headlines, right? Decentralization, financial freedom, endless innovation. But what if I told you there's a dark side to this story, a shadow world that nobody talks about? What if the very code that's supposed to protect your money is actually a ticking time bomb? You've heard the success stories, the overnight millionaires. But what about the silent victims, the people who lost everything? Decentralized finance, or DeFi, promises to revolutionize how we handle money. It sounds incredible. But beneath all that hype, hidden dangers like smart contract exploits and liquidity black holes are waiting to drain the accounts of even the most experienced investors. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. We're going to expose the DeFi risks that are often swept under the rug. That unhackable smart contract, that infinite liquidity pool. These are the myths that keep people pouring their money in, unaware of the real dangers. We're about to show you the brutal truth. The decentralized frontier is far from a perfect utopia. It's a wild, unregulated space with serious vulnerabilities that could leave you with nothing. Let's start with this idea of a DeFi utopia. It's easy to get excited about a financial system that's open to everyone, transparent, and cuts out the middlemen like banks. And don't get me wrong, those benefits are real. DeFi has opened up financial services to people all over the world who were previously excluded. The transparency of the blockchain is a huge step forward. But this exciting narrative often leaves out the gritty, uncomfortable reality. It's like exploring a beautiful, uncharted island, but ignoring the fact that it's full of hidden traps and dangerous predators. We're here to give you the full map, the good and the bad, so you can navigate this space without falling into one of those traps. The first major danger zone is something called smart contracts. In DeFi, the saying goes, code is law. These are self-executing contracts with the terms of the agreement directly written into lines of code. They automate everything, from lending and borrowing to trading assets. They're supposed to be infallible, removing the need for trust. But here's the problem. What happens when the code itself is flawed? What happens when the law is broken? We've seen it happen time and time again. High-profile hacks have siphoned off hundreds of millions, sometimes even billions of dollars from projects that were considered safe. These aren't simple smash-and-grab robberies. Hackers use incredibly sophisticated methods. They exploit tiny, overlooked vulnerabilities in the code. Things like reentrancy attacks, where a hacker can trick a contract into giving them money over and over again before the system updates its balance. Or flash loan attacks, where someone borrows a massive amount of crypto with zero collateral, manipulates the market for a split second, and then pays back the loan, pocketing a huge profit. It's a constant, high-stakes game of cat and mouse between the developers trying to secure these protocols and the malicious actors trying to break them. You might be thinking, what about audits? Don't projects get their code checked by experts? Yes, they do. And audits are crucial. But here's the hard truth. An audit is not a guarantee of safety. It's a snapshot in time. Auditors can miss things. New attack vectors can be discovered. And some exploits aren't about breaking the code, but about cleverly using the protocol's own rules against itself. A green checkmark from an auditor doesn't make a project invincible. It just means a team of experts didn't find any obvious flaws at that specific moment. Believing an audit makes you 100% safe is one of the most dangerous assumptions you can make in DeFi. Next, let's talk about liquidity. In DeFi, liquidity is king. To make decentralized exchanges and lending platforms work, you need people to deposit their crypto into pools. These people are called liquidity providers, and they earn fees for their service. It sounds like a great way to earn passive income, but this is another double-edged sword. One of the biggest and most misunderstood risks here is something called impermanent loss. Imagine you deposit two different tokens into a liquidity pool. If the price of one token goes way up or way down compared to the other, the value of your assets in the pool can actually end up being less. Then if you had just held them in your own wallet, it's called impermanent because the loss only becomes real when you withdraw your funds. But during a volatile market, that loss can become very permanent very quickly. It's a silent capital drain that many new users don't even realize is happening until it's too late. They see their fee rewards ticking up, but they don't see the underlying value of their deposit slowly eroding away. And the risks with liquidity don't stop there. The DeFi ecosystem is incredibly interconnected. One protocol relies on another, which relies on another. What happens when a crucial piece of this puzzle breaks? We've seen this with so-called stablecoins, which are supposed to be pegged to a stable asset like the US dollar. When a major stablecoin loses its peg and its value starts to plummet, it creates a domino effect. Panic spreads. People rush to withdraw their funds, causing liquidity pools to dry up across the entire system. This can trigger a death spiral where interconnected protocols start to fail one after another. Your funds might be in a project that seems completely unrelated. But if it relies on that failing stablecoin or a connected protocol, your investment is suddenly at extreme risk. Then there's the issue of concentrated liquidity. In some newer designs, liquidity can be focused in very narrow price ranges. While this is great for capital efficiency, it also creates new risks. It can make markets more susceptible to manipulation, and if the price moves outside that narrow range, liquidity can vanish in an instant, leaving traders stranded. This brings us to one of the biggest, most chaotic aspects of DeFi, the regulatory abyss. Right now, DeFi operates in a global gray area. There are very few clear rules. For some, that's the whole appeal: freedom from government oversight. But that freedom comes at a cost. It creates the perfect environment for scams, rug pulls, and other fraudulent activities. A rug pull is when a project's developers hype up their token, attract a ton of investors, and then suddenly disappear with all the money, leaving investors with worthless digital assets. In traditional finance, if you get scammed, there are consumer protection agencies, police, and a legal system you can turn to. In DeFi, you're mostly on your own. Tracing anonymous developers across borders is nearly impossible, and recovering stolen crypto is incredibly difficult. This is the Wild West. You are your own bank, which sounds empowering, but it also means you are your own security guard, your own compliance officer, and your own fraud investigator. The level of personal responsibility is immense. And many people jump in without fully understanding that there is no safety net to catch them if they fall. We've seen countless case studies of this. Projects that seemed legitimate, with professional-looking websites and active social media, turned out to be elaborate scams that vanished overnight. Victims are often left with nowhere to turn, their life savings gone in a flash. The lack of regulation and recourse is a fundamental risk that everyone must consider before putting a single dollar into a decentralized protocol. So, after hearing all of this, you might be thinking DeFi is just too dangerous to even touch. But that's not the message here. The goal isn't to scare you away, but to arm you with knowledge. So, how can you navigate this decentralized frontier more safely? The key is to trade hype for prudence. Don't chase unrealistic returns. If something sounds too good to be true, it almost certainly is. First and foremost, do your own research. And I mean really do your research. Don't just read a few positive tweets or watch a hype video. Dig into the project's documentation, understand what it actually does, and learn about the team behind it. Are they anonymous, or do they have a public reputation to protect? Read the audit reports, and more importantly, understand their limitations. Second, practice smart risk management. The golden rule is to never invest more than you are willing to lose. Diversification is also key. Don't put all your eggs in one DeFi basket. Spread your investments across different types of assets and different protocols. Consider using tools that can help you monitor your positions and protect against things like impermanent loss. Third, stay informed. The DeFi space moves at lightning speed. Protocols are constantly updating, and new vulnerabilities are always being discovered. Follow reputable security firms and researchers on social media, join community discussions, and always be aware of the risks associated with the platforms you're using. In the end, DeFi holds revolutionary potential. It could build a more open and equitable financial future. But it's not a magic money tree. It's a new technology in its infancy, with all the growing pains and dangers that come with it. Responsible participation is the only way to survive and thrive. You have to understand and respect its shadow side. The decentralized frontier is full of opportunity, but only for those who are prepared, cautious, and clear-eyed about the risks. Approach it with prudence, not just promise, and you'll be in a much better position to navigate its challenges. Thanks for watching. I hope this gave you a more balanced view of the world of DeFi. If you found this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Stay safe out there.